So we're gonna do a little video ad for Bright Health here. I just got off the phone with a guy named Mike in Tucson, and he was really interested in the parts buy. So I do want to give some more detail about this so that you guys understand this. Again, this is more than money. It's about security and two factors. One is, how do you make change in your neighborhood, in your government, in your area? And one of the things that's really missing from when I was a kid is old people that have a pension, but are still active in the community. Like, there used to be way more people, especially older people, like at McDonald's or at a grocery store. Of course they don't do a fully functional job, and of course it's usually part-time, but you get to see them, they get to interact, and you're not seeing that anymore. And so one of the things that Mike and I were talking about is, in order to make change in your neighborhood and in your government, there really needs to be watchdog groups. Now, what's a watchdog? So that's basically somebody that has more time than money, or has enough money that they don't need to work a job, as busy as the rest of us, 40 hours or whatever it is. So watchdog groups and watchdog individuals have the time and enough resources, like internet connection, to keep an eye on government and keep an eye on business deals and things that are corrupt in local government and federal government, whatever it is. And so how do we get more of those people in society? Well, one of the things holding everyone back is the price of real estate. And really, the price of real estate is what really sort of triggers all of the other expenses that you see. So if the rent costs go up on a business, typically the business owner will not just absorb that, for the good of the community. The prices go up, and in a larger sense, that's what's called inflation. So, but and I don't want to get into that. But as I talked about with, I think I did a video on the urban village idea. So there was recently I had been ghosted a second time. This time was my bad. There's a guy named Tony Burgee. Is it? No, that's another dickhead. Danny Burjuis. We did some decals for him, and he ghosted me, and so I'll expose him. He's a piece of shit. But my fault. I fell for it a second time. But one of the good things that came out of the thing with Danny was that he was sitting on a property down there by the Phoenix Fairgrounds, like 19th Avenue and whatever it is, like Grand. And dude, this is a huge warehouse. It was like 6,400 square feet. But the big kicker was two things, which was that it had 30-foot ceilings, and it was zoned R3, R4, meaning you could make small apartments within it. Like, when all of a sudden you don't have to have an exterior cover for an apartment building, like, you're just talking about drywall, insulation, and 2x4s. Like, it becomes really affordable. So the good thing about him burning me on that deal, because basically he could have turned it over to me, or he even allowed me to join in, and he didn't. So he ended up turning it over to some ammo guy or weapons guy. But the real key on that deal was that the building was owned by a family that just used it for passive income, and so it was only like $2,000 a month, and they're willing to sign like a 10-year lease or something like that. But the good thing that came out of that was, and this is a good thing that comes out of a lot of things that I encounter in my life, is looking at real estate, whether it's residential or commercial. Typically, I get more ideas from commercial real estate. So, but one of the ideas that I got from the commercial real estate was that it was the location. And I realized that one of the things that was not being addressed, especially in urban areas, was the need for fresh vegetables and what's the word? Like clean water, and so that again, I'm sure you can go back and look at my video about Urban Village. It was right around the quick starter studios ideas, but so that was one of the great ideas, and I've really had that idea continue onto the rest of my career. So I encourage people to do that yourself, to have a goal, even if it changes. So back to the parts thing and my conversation with Mike this morning, which was so yeah, we're doing a parts giveaway, and the way that this works is that I would definitely take an offer if somebody had offered 60 grand for all the parts. And basically all these parts they're not all of the parts, but they are most of the parts. Typically it's for stuff that I would develop a product around in order to use up the parts. And I just don't have time for that. There's not enough manpower. There's not enough. This is too big, and I want to move too quickly. So, if I was to milk it, it would be worth probably 2, 3, maybe 4 million as far as retail sales go. But that's fully assembled and retail. So I would accept an offer of 60 grand, and you'd even get a magnetizer with it. But what I realized was that this is an expansion opportunity, not only for me to sort of leverage my way out of it and be really more of a leader and a developer, which is the position that I want to be in. And of course, that position in movies is called a producer. But and so this will give me great practice for that as well. But there needs to be a network of people that are trustworthy, loyal, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And those would all be vetted by me. And of course, I want to have rules in place that if, that turns out to be something that it's not, then we can be able to revoke that. And so basically, that's where the rules of franchise would probably come in, where, if you have a McDonald's franchise, you can't sell Whoppers. And if you want to watch a good movie, it's a biopic with what's his name, Batman, Mr. Mom. It's called The Founder, and it's about Ray Kroc, who really developed and is responsible for what we see McDonald's today. But so that's kind of what I want to do with Robot. But there's so many other projects related to it. So these parts, there's lots and lots of parts. And so the price that you'll be getting if you buy a slice of this, again, there's going to be 60 slices because we just need to raise 60 grand. We don't need to raise a lot relatively. And so the buyout you're getting is going to be below China pricing. So you can't, especially now, you cannot get any of this stuff for that cheap. Now, if you're feeling sorry for yourself and you don't have $1,000, this is not something I'm going to do next week. So it's going to take about a good month and a half, maybe 2 months to do a full inventory and to get things a little more organized, so that if you do decide to, pay the shipping and get your slice or slices shipped to you, we can do that. And so that's my responsibility, and that's really the way to go. Now, if you do want to reserve your slice, let's use that word, they keep using that word. There are people already that, we haven't divided the territories in a way that we feel comfortable yet, but you would definitely get the parts. And again, you're going to make money just on the parts. So, but we want to make it twofold so that you get a territory as well. And basically, if I get a referral, Charlie in San Francisco, if I get somebody that, in San Francisco that needs a recone, I would send them to him. I don't need to soak up every recone, right? In fact, I'd rather not. And especially that's the power of distribution and having lots of hands do a little bit of work rather than one pair of hands doing a lot of work. So, and really what I want to be responsible for is the distribution. Now, Lord of Bass, that's George Campos. He does a really good job. But as we're seeing, he can't really keep up all the time, and he can't always supply the network of the people that want to recon and sort of do these things for themselves. And so that's where we can step in. I don't want to be a competitor of George. George is very competitive. And many times in the past where, I post something up for, like he's selling a spider for, say, $32. And I'll sell it for, $31.50. Well, guess what? Next week, I'll see the price at $31. And really, that's kind of a waste because as long as you're cheaper than Sundown, their yard sale or whatever thing they're doing that week, and the part isn't available anywhere else, you don't really need to sell it that cheap. And you got to remember, a lot of people are going, well, we want prices cheaper, and that's what competition thing. If everybody competes on a vicious level, guess what? People go away. So this is something that you kind of have to manage now. And I was talking about this yesterday about sometimes when you transfer hands of these organizations or a brand or something like that, they end up in bad hands. And so that's where I want to be very active about this. I also want to be very transparent about pricing and about costs and things like that, so that you guys are aware. You're gonna make a lot of money from just the parts, but I don't care. My concern is to create a distribution network so that when we replace those things and when we start importing, then there's a place for those parts to go. And so that's why it's important to be humble, to be helpful. Again, like a Boy Scout, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, all those sorts of things, so that we can have a reliable network that is not, I repeat, not like a money, a profit-oriented organization. That's not what I want. Those entities already exist. And here's the great thing about being a not-for-profit and also being sort of an underground organization is that you actually have an advantage. You have lots of advantages over a business. And so you want to keep those advantages. Do not get greedy. Do not try to, I used to do this a long time ago. This is probably 20 years ago, where I would go into a car audio shop, mostly because I'm still a car audio fan. And I like seeing the latest gear. But I would hand out fucking business cards to people in the store. That is, number one, unethical. Number two, if you have to understand, and I realize this now, is that anybody that's in a car audio store typically is not going to buy. That's the honest truth. They're just there to kick the tires, so to speak. Or as my dad used to call them, a stroke. You are a stroke. And I was like, I was like 10. And he's like, well, what's a stroke? And then, it's like he doesn't want to explain the hand job to a 10-year-old. So, but the other thing is that if you're in a car audio store looking for a car audio, you don't know any better, right? Because there are many, 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 even just Amazon is way better than a car audio shop. And so you want to stay out of the car audio shops, and you don't want to compete with them. You want to let them have those soccer moms and those, I don't want to call them stupid people, but just people that don't know any better, ignorant people, people that are, listen to the radio. I do not listen to commercial radio and television. I'm beyond those things. And so that's one of the great things about not advertising is, number one, I'm not paying for advertising. Number two, it takes effort in order to find me. And that's where I want people to make an effort to find you. If you make good product and you help the community and you are an asset to people, you will be popular. You will be very popular, and you won't even have to try. And that's the things I want to show you. Now, will I experience a lot of people that are impatient? Yes. And if you're so impatient, I would say don't do this. This is a long-term project. Again, how many times are you going to be educated enough with a network large enough that you never have to have employment again, right? If you do it right, it's just a one-time thing. And then you'll laugh the way that I laugh when, what was it? His name, George Wood. This guy, that was that guy that was the dickhead. I got a whole violent, it's not violent, it's just sort of yelling video of me basically turning this guy down because he didn't like stuff. But, he had a real bad attitude. He was talking about how he wipes his ass with $100 bills, but he's driving a shitbox. Anyways, sorry, I get distracted by people like that, and it's important not to be distracted by shitheads. And there's a lot of shitheads, and there's a lot of really stupid people in your community, and it's important not to judge them, but it is important to avoid them, right? Just like you would a rattlesnake. A rattlesnake's not inherently evil. It's just dangerous when you're not friends with it. And a lot of times you cannot make friends with a rattlesnake. So the best thing you can do is just simply avoid it. And that includes people. So if there are people that do undesirable things, the best thing you can do is not surround yourself with them. What you quickly find is that you're very lonely. And but that is part of life, and that is part of being a strong human being that is resourceful and creative. Many times you can be creative enough or even just grow yourself out of a situation rather than trying to fight the forces that are, already in play and are well funded. And again, that's where the theme comes back to being underground. Harriet Tubman did not advertise her railroad. She was not a railroad tycoon. She's talking about something that she poured her life into to create a better life for other people. And that's what you can do with this opportunity. And that's what I want to help not only you, but also you help other people. And that's how this works. It's basically like a pyramid scheme, but it's like pay it forward. So it's pretty rad. And I've been having this life for I haven't had a job since 2003, or employment, I should say, since 2003. And like I was telling Mike this morning, is that you can run it as a not-for-profit. It doesn't have to be a for-profit. Mostly that has to do with attitude and motivation. As far as the IRS is concerned, the way that churches function is that they're collecting all that money for, they don't ever say this, but this is really what they mean, which is that they're collecting it for Jesus. Because you don't want to be generalized about God. You want to be very specific. So they're holding it for Jesus. And if Jesus does actually show up, guess what? Money doesn't matter. And so you can say that you're holding that money for Jesus, which is fine because that's the same argument that all the churches use. The difference between your church or your not-for-profit, and you want to be a church. You actually don't want to fiddle fart about being a not-for-profit and not religious, because that is going to be the key here in the future, is religious rights, not, just we're doing this for funsies and for the community. That's not enough. You have to be very definitive that you're doing this for Jesus, or you're doing this for your God, or you're doing this, for a religious reason. So, but I think that churches should do more than take your money and molest your kids. Maybe I got too high of a threshold, but that's the way I feel. And if you like that attitude, then I would encourage you to research more and support me. So that's what I like to do. But let's see, we're in 18 minutes here. It's not quite a podcast. Let's see if we can do some podcasty stuff. So the other day I was researching, I was doing a follow-up on the whole Parker Mayer Robot Underground party thing, fiasco, whatever you want to call it. And just so you know, if you guys ever think that I'm being unfair or mean, that is not true. So I gave these fine folks plenty of time and plenty of rope, and they decided to hang themselves, which is, that's on them. That's their responsibility, right? If someone's stepping on your toes and you say, "Excuse me, you're stepping on my toes," and they laugh at you, or worse, they send you a letter threatening legal action that they have the right to step on your toes, then that's when, it's appropriate to be appropriate. If you go to Robot Underground, therobotunderground.org, it's now passworded for Parker's, she was using WordPress to develop that site, and that's fine. It's now basically down. And then the other one was robotunderground.party. If you go there, It says something like, somebody has threatened our family, so we went dark, and which of course is not true on my end. Now, if somebody took it upon themselves to make a threat, that is wrong. Do not threaten other people. Violence is terrible, and it's beneath you. Do not do that. Then it makes you as helpful as Hitler. So don't make threats at people. And that's one of the reasons why cops get such a bad name, is they make threats. So don't make a threat. Don't do that. You're better than that. You're more creative than that. Be creative about your way to protest. A quick tangent. The other day there's something about the name Uncle Parker that I couldn't get out of my head. And I realized what it was. It was a song in my head. And so I'm going to give you a little song here. So, you can shut your fucking face, Uncle Parker. You're a cocksucking, ass-licking Uncle Parker. Uncle Parker. What was it? Something. Uncle Parker, don't you know? No. Uncle Parker, yes, it's true. Nobody gets fucked by robots quite like you. So shut your fucking face, Uncle Parker. You're a cocksucking, ass-licking Uncle Parker. And of course, that's parody. So you can say pretty much whatever you want as long as it's in song form. So just like it was funny, I got reminded of that when Kenan Thompson was on SNL and he was singing something about Trump or something like that. And it was right around when Trump was into the Village People Macho Man song. And it's so funny to know that, the president of the free world doesn't realize that that's a song about sucking dick in the city and hanging out with other, macho men. It's great. I love that. So again, I love people that are very confident in themselves. I realized that that's The Office. That's basically Ricky Gervais's office with, was it Michael Scott, I think is the name of the character. But anyways, so somebody that's confident that is wrong, that does not know or realize how wrong they are. But again, so let's see, what was it? Oh, that was the other thing was good news on the project. So one of the things I'm also developing is the Church of Zeotology. So that's some very, what's funny is it's sort of a tongue-in-cheek take on religion, but I actually want to use it as a platform in real movies. And I think there can be real change in society, but it has to be done in a popular, again, entertaining way for people to absorb it better and sort of, get a better understanding of it. Just like this video, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have zoned out or don't want to listen to a lecture, or people like me who don't like even the sound of my voice, which is fine. But let's see, Church of Zeotology. So that is based on the ideal. Probably 10 years ago, I noticed there was a big uptick in church-related bumper stickers. There's a few mega churches around here that, they have a band and they talk about feel-good types of things. It's all, I don't want to call it garbage, but it's definitely just feel-good stuff that doesn't have any heart. It's very cathartic, but, people sort of bond, was it Misery Loves Company sort of thing. But I noticed that these churches were sort of starting to outdo one another, and I think it was right around the time, later on, there was the Mad Max movie where, you get that blind guy with the guitar and the fire coming out of it. And for me, I pictured the sort of epitome of this would be a church that's held at a monster truck rally. How much do you love Jesus? Yeah, rock! And, there's fire coming out of the guitar. Like, that's how much we love Jesus, that sort of thing. So that's what the Church of Zeotology is sort of about. It's a parody on lots of religions that sort of take themselves too serious. And, if your soul was really at danger of not being saved, what would you be willing to do? And so I took the idea of what the Jehovah's Witnesses do, which is, they what they call proselytize, which of course sounds a lot like prostitution, but It's I think it's a Greek root or even a Latin root word. But anyways, I took the idea of so there's usually when there's Jehovah's Witnesses, it's usually like an older couple. A lot of times it's a black couple or a Hispanic couple. Typically, it's not a white couple. Older white couples typically tend to be Mormons, and those guys are retired. But anyways, the J-Dubs, there's one pair of girls that came up to our door one day in our old neighborhood, and one was a little, big and not great in the face, and the other one was like super cute. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if they really loved Jesus and really cared about you enough to have sex with you in order to save your soul? Like, that's some dedication, right? That's some faith in action, right? To be really committed. And so that would be one of the things, the tenets in the Church of Zeotology. And so it actually comes from the word zealot, which if you research the meaning of zealot, that those were the last one that I read. I'm not a history buff, but a zealot was a Jew that was being persecuted by the Christians, because Christians during, nobody suspects the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects an Inquisition. But the Spanish and the Christian Empire was, dominating the savages and the heathens, and some of those people were Jews. And the Jews, there was a group of Jews that just got sick and tired of being fucking persecuted. And so they started going out on their own and like killing people. And and that's what a zealot is, somebody that's super passionate about it and super over the top faith. And they of course use that as an excuse to excuse their behavior. And so that's what the Church of Zeotology is really based upon, is zealots. And you see zealots in a lot of religions today, and in a way that they can justify violence, or in what you're seeing a lot of cases right now is, refusal to take the vaccine, or, the moon landing was faked, and things like that. So it's just to justify their silliness, so. But that's what the Church of Zeotology is. And if you go to @zeotology on Twitter, that's where my handle is. And I will develop that by actually giving people really helpful advice and sort of helpful, positive messages. But occasionally you'll see something like, it's spaghetti night at the at the crash, the crash up derby. Make sure everyone brings their 200 grain alcohol to their Everclear, to do fireballs and stuff like that. So it's just this, a parody on how ridiculous religion is getting. But yet, as we saw with this latest Supreme Court case, I think it was California versus some Bible group or whatever, that, you cannot stop people from practicing their religion. There's a huge thing there. And so that's where you really want to sort of wrap yourself in the blanket of the First Amendment. The other great thing about doing that is if anybody does attack you, other people that wrap themselves in the same First Amendment will feel compelled to defend you, whether they like you or not. And that, of course, also covers free speech. Once you attack someone about their speech and their expression of their speech, it benefits you to defend them, especially if you don't agree with them. That we can all sort of agree to disagree, but, you do not touch those certain things here in America. You can touch them everywhere else. You can go molest them in the UK and other countries where if you criticize, your king, they'll throw you in jail, shit like that. But let's see, what else did I cover? Blah, 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 blah. That was the other one, was one of the goals that I have, ideas that I have, which was to, so if you haven't watched some of these Tesla promo videos, it's not even, they're by Tesla fans. And really, when you look at what Tesla's doing and how they're doing it, that is the goddamn future. And if you want to know where the future is going, it's Elon Musk. So I consider myself sort of I don't want to say a fanboy of Elon, but I definitely like his style and his humor in technology and the way that he raises money and the way that he doesn't take himself too serious, but yet he's also innovative and creative. And I like the path that he's carving for the rest of us entrepreneurs. And so one of the ideas that I came up with, which was I named it last night, it's called Starling Studios. Now, of course, I don't want to cyber squat, and I reserved the starlingstudios.com. That's certainly not my intentions. My intentions is to be part of or even run a studio based on Tesla's Starlink network. So once you have that network in place, you don't even need Netflix. You don't need Google. You don't need a lot of these. Tesla and their ideas and the ideas that Elon is pushing are going to flood a lot of the competition that's out there for, we're talking about trillions of dollars. Like it's insane that the level of, I don't want to say wealth, but definitely it's like a standard of living that he wants to bring to the world. And one of those ways is by, having internet for everybody. And you do that by putting satellites into orbit and they network that way. That is going to change the way that you live. I mean, imagine now you can live out in the middle of nowhere, literally out in the middle of nowhere. And we found actually a great farm outside of Austin that looks really promising. But again, I just like looking at real estate for ideas. You can live out in the middle of nowhere. And if you have electricity and water, which are pretty easily obtained, you have an organization. You have a outpost that you can live and is really affordable because it is out in the middle of nowhere. So, and to me, that's the only way for you to get ahead. And that's the only way for you to have enough money to have a good life. And again, go back to being a watchdog. That's the only way. So you cannot just pay people to stay home unless you're, super wealthy. And, I'm sure Andrew Yang has some ideas like that. And those are well-intentioned, but I don't see everyone agreeing on this thing. And of course, that's where you guys come in. So you're the network, you're the ones, and you have to take responsibility not only for your life, but for those in your community. You don't want to make choices for people. That's not what I'm encouraging at all. But it's important to lead by example. And it can be an exciting, rewarding life. And that's when humans are really the most happiest. When you're working towards a goal, you're making progress every day, and you're good at it, and really humans are really good at helping one another. That's where we feel most happy. So I encourage you to create a lifestyle around that. What you'll quickly find, though, is that people will take advantage of you. And it's important to grow a thick skin so that you don't take things personal. Again, back to the rattlesnake. You don't really want to keep a rattlesnake as a pet. They're not really great. They're not very snuggly. And so you're going to encounter somebody like that that's going to bite you. And so it's important to just, this is a person that's scared. You don't need to be around them, but, now you know. And so you learn and you just move on. So, but there was another analogy that I liked this morning. There was, I used to be involved in Excel telecommunications, which I don't regret for a minute. And was it kind of a pyramid scheme, MLM? Yes. But what it really exposed me to was a lot of really great speakers. And again, I posted this on the @zeotology Twitter page, which was Paul Orbison's book, Something Good's Going to Happen. So a lot of people put a lot of energy into, something bad always happens, or, something it's bound to happen, something negative. And what's funny is that sort of attitude requires the same amount of energy as thinking something good's going to happen and having that faith. But when you have a belief that something good's going to happen, that benefits you and the people around you. Going the other way, going negative, it just creates mistrust and disdain and just sort of terribleness. So if you're going to make an investment in something positive rather than something negative. But one of the partners, I forget his name, I think he was a fellow teacher, back when Paul Orbison was a fucking high school basketball coach. But he had come and spoke at the rally that we had here in Phoenix, and he used to wear a little hummingbird pin to remind him, and also to remind other people, that our job isn't necessarily to save the world. Most of what our job is to simply hunt for nectar and find nectar and capture nectar. That's it. And to not take it personal. And that's what a hummingbird does most of their day, is just hunts for good flowers. They don't get mad when there's no nectar in that flower. They just move on and go to the next flower. So, and if you can sort of keep that attitude in the morning and tell yourself, let's see what we can do today. Let's see how badass I can be, and how wonderful I can make the world. And that's about what, for me, my life has been very great because of that. And I think I've been very successful doing that. So, and you can too. All you do is change your attitude, and they call it an attitude because, like a plane, if your attitude is negative, meaning pointed down, you're going to find the ground really quick. But if your attitude is positive, meaning pointed up, guess what? You're going to fly, So that's about all the preaching I wanted to do this morning. All the new zealots out there, welcome to the Church of Zeotology, and which of course is a parody on Scientology. But I was raised Mormon, so in the religion we kind of blend Scientology and Mormonism and other ridiculous practices of religion into it. And of course, I'm embedding all of this into films and television. And back to the Starlink. Sorry, I kind of forgot about that. So Starling Studios is it's a production studio, so in the same way that there's DreamWorks or Paramount, or what a studio is basically it's a house that artists are able to use and borrow money from for productions to create works of art. Now, what's great about being a studio is that typically you make way more money than even the artist does, because again, the real money is in distribution, not actually in manufacturing or creative arts. Is it very lucrative? Yes, but really the real money is in the distribution, and so that's why I think Starling Studios and what Tesla is creating with the Starlink network is really the future of media. And so that's what I want to help Tesla develop. And it will be some untraditional media, and basically allowing really great artists to express themselves in a way that, every artist, I'm thinking like Will Ferrell and Selma Hayek and Mark Wahlberg and all these guys that have their own production companies, you get notes from the studio sometimes, hey, that joke is a little too racy. Hey, you might not want to do this, because they want to sort of get as much money as possible. And so I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was a studio, like Paramount or Warner Brothers, that was run by the stars, right? And that's what a sort of a cooperative is. And also the big move to Texas. Land is cheap in Texas. And if you already have a couple $1 million, you can set up a really nice pad and production company there in Texas. And what do you know? Texas is business friendly. So if you have a business and you want to run it there in Texas, that's going to be a nice future for you. So to me, that's where the future is in Tesla. And especially since Elon is finally committed to developing in that area, that's where I think my future is going to be as well. And so I want to be part of that. But that's what Starling Studios is. Again, it's like a cooperative of movie stars that also have their own production company. I don't really want to pitch ideas to you guys, because again, there's a lot of really sensitive stuff that would make me vulnerable to theft. And so I don't need to risk that. And I have, probably at least 20 screenplays or treatments for movies that I'm not a fan of Netflix right now. I don't like the way they force feed you stuff. I'm certainly not a fan of Amazon and the way that Bezos force feeds its customers. And so that's why I was looking for something else and something different. And that's where I think the Starlink idea of having internet for everyone, you'd be able to stream, into your Tesla while your Tesla's, autonomous and driving you someplace. You have time for a movie, and that's where you would enjoy that. But that's for Starling Studios. And the last one, I hope I don't ever have to make another video about Parker Kaywood Mayer. And that is, I was watching some of the old, this is probably a week ago. It was an older video that Parker had made that she was imitating an Italian guy saying, "These are the spicy meat bots." Well, what's funny? Spicy Meat Bots is actually a really great name. So guess who reserves spicymeatbots.com? Me. And so I now own spicymeatbots.com. Thank you, Parker, for the great idea. But there's an old bit that I used to do. And I swear to baby Jesus that every time we eat, I think about this. And it's just one of those things in my brain. So a few years back, there's a great lady friend that Sherry made at her work, Rona, and she was married to this dipshit at the time, Denny. And we were doing a charity event where we were raising money for cancer research and, cures and things like that were related to a cancer charity. And this was in Sun Devil Stadium, and we were selling beers. And so, I found it to be a great time to yell at the top of my lungs, drink a beer for cancer, cure cancer with a beer. So it was a really great platform for me to sort of be expressive the way that I like to be and outspoken. And we had lots of fun. It was great. Well, about 3 or 4 hours into this, we started to get hungry. And then people, you're in a group of like probably 8 to 10 people. And it gets a little weird when you start asking yourself, what should we eat? What do you want? And things like that. And so one of the things that Denny said was, whatever makes a turd, which he got from when he was in the Navy, and which is funny because of how truthful it is. Is it really important to eat something that you care that much about that you're just going to turn into a turd? And so it was funny. I was laughing at that, and off in the distance there was this gourmet chef in a chef's outfit, a white chef's outfit, that was hand tossing some gourmet pizzas. And I again, every time the conversation of what should we eat comes up, I think of this of a guy named Luigi. Hey, I make a good food for you. He's inside my bowels, and he's making a turd, right? Like a big log, like at a lumber mill, and he's packing it with his hands. Hey, I make a good poop for you. You make a good poop? Oh, you eat at a Subway. That's what Jared eats. He makes a good poop with a good Subway sandwich. And so I would do the bit about talking about the way that Luigi makes poop inside of you. And then you say, hey, what are you going to eat now? Oh, you want to eat the Arby's? Oh, we don't mess with that. You let that go. Just let it go. That's going to make a mess. You're like a power washer, but with the poo-poo, So, but again, thank you, Parker, for giving me the idea for spicymeatbots.com. I will certainly use it to its maximum benefit. But thank you, guys. I love you. Thank you to our sponsor, Bright Health. I don't even know who the fuck that is, but my wife likes the pen. And I will talk to you later. Keep the comments coming. Any other ideas and concerns that you might have for the 60 slice pie that we're going to develop here, please let me know. You can buy more than one slice too. And now I don't recommend buying a slice or a territory outside of your reach. You can, but you're going to be very busy with the mail order stuff. And I'd really think that you do better just in your local area. So now a metropolitan area like Billings, Montana, you can probably just have one guy that supports the whole state, or even like, next door, like what is it, the Dakotas or something like that. But some of these places are really busy, such as like New York. Now, probably a place like New York City, I would probably divide between two, maybe like a Western borough, somebody that's like closer to the river, and then somebody else that's like in Long Island. And then, of course, New York State, which is where Corey Dean is. Corey Dienstey's plenty busy with just recones. I just do recones, man. I make lots of money. You can make lots of money doing recones as well, and you can probably have the rest of New York. There's a couple of guys in Canada. I really want to once we develop a lot of these networks, I really want to especially along the border. There's a lot of people that live in Canada that love audio and want to. It's hard for them to get, and so I want to actually set up a distribution company up there just for you guys, so that you guys can have affordable audio equipment shipped to you. We'll probably have to do it directly from China, which is fine, but it's going to require some work. And so the best way for me to again be a watchdog and sort of develop those things is that if I don't have to make subwoofers every day, if you guys are out there making subwoofers, and so that's where I want you to make subwoofers. Lastly here, I'm looking at my notes. The other thing was, once you have that territory in place, you're also going to be turned on to a lot of the other products, related things, ideas that are associated with robot. And one of those is MAC, which is the Modular Audio Concepts and Kinetics, MACK. There's a lot of really wonderful things that I'm going to be doing with that idea. And that will be one of the things that's offered exclusively by robot. And we're talking about basically a cone and cap system. I would love to develop a detachable cap system, something that you don't glue. But basically you get to choose your cone, then you get to choose your cap, and the caps would come in not just colors, but also textures. So imagine it would probably be faux leather or synthetic leather, but like a Gucci dust cap, or a crushed velvet dust cap, or a fuzzy pink one that you see like a lot of the PSIs builds, people like, who love David. I love David, by the way. He's a great guy, works out of Star, Mississippi, which is where he's from. And he runs PSI, also known as fixmyspeaker.com. He definitely charges a premium for what he does, but then you also have to look at what's available. And that's why it's not that I want to compete with David. I simply think that there is room for maneuver. And so that's where I would offer something as an alternative. Also, quick note before I forget, one of the weird things that I noticed when I was in the fixed network for Sundown was that these guys would buy parts from one another, and they wanted to buy at wholesale, which is a mistake. The problem is that there's no sort of reckoning of the favors that you give to one another. And so that's why whenever I was out of a part, I would buy retail from David, from fixmyspeaker.com. That's my way of saying thank you to David for having that part in stock. And I would encourage you guys to do the same thing. Do not complain that, David doesn't love you or something like that. That's dumb. If you're a real friend and you're really thankful for someone, especially like in car audio, you'll pay more than retail because you're supporting your friend, and that's a way to say I love you, right? Like, I forget her name on Will and Grace. She's like, that's how you know somebody loves you. They leave you money. So, but any friend that claims that you're only friends if you give them free stuff, that's not a friend. That's a leech. And back to Robert Kiyosaki and his ideas in Rich Dad Poor Dad. Start evaluating the people in your life, whether they're liabilities or they're assets. And guess what happens when you start getting rid of the liabilities? You become more profitable. You become more bountiful and stronger, because you don't have all those things sapping your strengths, sapping your time. Is people that consistently need hand-holding and wet nursing. Whatever they require, you don't have to do that anymore if you cut them off. It doesn't have to be permanent, but sometimes it requires a couple times. I've done this with the family that I grew up with. I've given them many, many, many chances to redeem themselves and to act right, and to not be malicious and sort of vindictive and all the negative things that come with codependent and dysfunctional relationships. And they choose otherwise. They think that I'm what's the word? I'm better than them, and you know, at this point, it really doesn't matter. The point is that there's nothing in the relationship with those people that benefits me. Nothing. So it becomes this one-sided weird relationship where, like, I guess it's, if you have a sugar baby and you're paying her and you're not getting any sex, like, what's the point? That's basically your child. That's your, you're paying for your child's education, but you're paying for somebody else's child's education or, shoe habit or whatever. So, but, don't be that guy. Don't be a worthless cuck. Unless that's what you're into, then, be the worthless cuck that you want to be. That's fine. But, stand up for yourself and don't be afraid to set your boundaries, because somebody that consistently violates your boundaries is not your friend, and you don't want them in your arena anyway. They're not on your side. So, but I love you. That's enough preaching for today. Peace be upon you. I love you all. Thank you. Take care of one another.